They can only love you as much as you're loving yourself. We're going to get into it. Hi, I'm Joe. Welcome back. This is the Ultimate Love Letter. Thank you for joining the conversation. I don't know who needs to hear this, but we all do. They are only loving you to the extent that you are loving yourself. This conversation is inspired by a beautiful colleague that I have been speaking to over the past few weeks about the area of love. And I know that it is something that all of us struggle with for the most part. And that's because love is something that is deeply rooted in us. It is our nature to be loved, to want to give love. But I find that the truth is the majority of us in that striving to find love, we are creating the love that is coming to us by default instead of precision. And the reason is because we are forgetting to love ourselves. And what it means to love ourselves first means that we are loving God first, because God is within us. And here is where the majority of us go astray. Everyone that is coming into our life is showing us the level we are actually loving ourselves. My beautiful colleague was in a relationship, see if you can relate and apply this to your life, where his partner hit him. And my beautiful colleague did the right thing. He left the relationship. As hard as it was, he let me know how much he loved this person, how he had never been with anyone as long as he had been with this person. But the moment he hit him is the moment he realized he needed to go. And so he left. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. And he left the relationship, uprooted his life, moved out of their home. And it's been about 3 or 4 months. And my beautiful friend went on, to understand that I'm not ready to date. I'm not ready to jump into another relationship. I'm just ready to, I am ready to date, but I'm not ready to be in another committed relationship. Like, I just want to be with myself, doing all the beautiful things that God calls us to do. Just sit with ourselves, heal the wounds that even caused us to enter in a relationship where someone else could hit us. The beautiful thing is, we understand when we begin to understand that everyone is coming into our life to show us something about ourselves. So when we enter in a relationship and find ourselves in an abusive relationship, that is a moment to look at ourselves. What is this abuse teaching me about myself? Well, not to blanket it, but one thing that could be obvious is, where are we abusing ourselves? In our emotional state? Perhaps we become comfortable in abusive situations because then we look back at our childhood where we abused as children, and now we've just been taught to accept abuse. It could be a million different things, but those are just one of, for me, the obvious things where we can look first. But for whatever reason, my friend was like doing all the right things. I'm going to leave. I'm going to just sit with myself. Yeah, I'll date around, but I am not ready for a committed relationship. It was beautiful. Then as we entered the new year, my friend said, I feel like I'm being called to the ocean. Like, I feel like I just want to be saturated when the clock strikes midnight, going in from 2025 to 2026, I want to be submerged in a natural body of water. I just want cleansing for my soul. It was perfection. He went into the water, was in the water at midnight, and his parents took a picture of him. He looked like an angel submerging from heaven into the land. Like, it was the most magical photo. And they were able to capture it in that moment. And it was incredible. For me, I just saw so many beautiful things with my third eye. I saw someone who was crying out for healing, someone who was ready to release skin, someone that was purging. And as you know, we went into the first week of New Year's, and he showed me the photo, and I told him what I saw. His eyes just welled up with tears, because when we hear the truth, we know it. Our soul knows it. And he was going into a bit of grief. And I told him, you're in the right place. You're grieving old skin. I've been there. You are. That's how I know to speak to this. You're shedding the release of who you once were. And you're going into this new creation. Keep going. It feels dark in that moment because you don't understand. Like, what is this I'm feeling? What is this that I'm grieving? Well, what you're grieving is the old version of yourself. You're shedding layers that no longer serve you, and you are stepping into this new creation. So as you're stepping into this new creation and you're ascending upward, and it's a beautiful thing, those parts of us are grieving all that we once knew. It's a beautiful place, very uncomfortable place, but absolutely beautiful, because you understand, if you understand where you're headed, is someplace so much more profound. That was one week. The next week, which was actually just this week, he came to me and was all excited and said, I'm back with my ex. And immediately, what my ego said, and it said it outwardly, was no, 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 no. I couldn't have said so many more no's. No, no, no. Actually, that's how I said it. No, no, no. Because I knew he is on the right path, doing all the beautiful ascension work. But here's what those wounds will do. Here's what the universe will do. Here's what the unclean one will do. Because as we're ascending upward, essentially choosing ourselves, choosing to love ourselves, choosing to feel worthy, the unclean one will do what he does best. He will come with a curveball and will attempt to knock us down, praying that we fall for it. And my beautiful friend fell for it. But all hope is not lost, because even the falling for it, even the slipping for it, even slipping back into our old selves, that is a lesson to be learned there. And it's okay, because oftentimes we have to learn these lessons by falling, by failing, and then we get it again, and then we're able to get up again. Yeah, the pain of having to restart again, the pain of now this wound that was healing has been picked open, and now it's fresh, and now I have to learn this lesson again. But that's life. That's life. And if we choose to learn it the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth time around, then it's worth it if we've learned it. But here's what's happening. In the truth of when we choose to go back into situations that have showed us where we have not loved ourselves enough. Follow me. A person who chooses to leave an abusive relationship is saying, I choose myself. is saying, I love you, but I am choosing to love myself more. It's going to hurt to leave this, but I have to love myself more. I am worthy of a relationship who is not abusive. Whether that's verbal, whether that's physical, I am worthy of someone who reveres me. And so I am choosing me by deciding not to choose you. Now, even though it hurts, I have to choose me. So when we decide to sit with the pain of leaving an abusive relationship, we begin to heal the parts of us that could even choose an abusive relationship. Whether you knew it was abusive or not, even most of the time we don't know it's abusive until we enter it. But understand that abuse is just showing us where we've been comfortable with abuse within our own life. We can heal it by choosing to not deal with it, by choosing to not pacify it, by choosing to look at it and understand that it is us that has drawn in this abuse. As we sit with that pain of choosing ourselves and not choosing them, as that wound becomes healed, we ascend upward to another frequency, another level, another dimension, where those who are loving themselves and healing their wounds reside. So as we ascend upward, we are now met with those individuals who are choosing themselves, who are loving themselves. That's where you meet an elevated love. Someone who is now loving themselves the way you are loving yourself, and in turn is able to love you the way you are loving yourself. But here's what happens when we fall back into or fall back down to those lower level relationships where we have, as my friend has done, begun the growing process. But when it gets uncomfortable, the unclean one comes and does what he does. He throws you that adversity, that temptation, like, are you going to go back to where it's comfortable? And it's okay that he has gone back. He's going to learn. Either way, it's going to be a beautiful lesson. No matter what it shows up as, it's going to be a beautiful reminder to choose yourself. But as he throws those curveballs and we fall back into perhaps an abusive relationship, then understand what that new reflection is showing you. And I'm just assuming if that person has not changed, it is showing you where you have not changed. It is showing you still where you still are not yet choosing yourself 100%. Because here you are choosing someone who will abuse you again. And here's the thing. I say if his partner has not changed. But here's the interesting thing, what I told him just last night. You know, his partner came with an offer to enter this relationship, and my beautiful friend, my colleague, immediately dropped his new life and went back immediately. Like, he was already dating someone else, a very nice gentleman that, was treating him well, was buying him things, seemed to be lovely, and they were just dating. They were not in a committed anything. They were courting each other. But you dropped that immediately, and you immediately went back to a situation that you left months ago without any need to be proven that there was a change. Understand it doesn't need to be either or. It doesn't need to be black or white. It doesn't need to be all in or not in. It could be a gray area of, great, my ex has come back saying that they've changed. Great, let me be proven that you've changed. Show me that you've changed. Let's take it slow here. I'm not going to uproot my life again for you. Show me. Let's go have coffee on the weekends. Let's talk. Let's text. Let's figure this thing out. It will be revealed right? But to just drop everything like it's hot, drop your whole new life that you have worked hard to build up in this person's absence and say, I'm putting all my eggs in this basket without any proof, there is still a lot of growing within you to be done. Because you're essentially saying whatever this person is saying, and words are cheap. Talk is the cheapest thing that exists on this earth. Clearly, we still have growing to do, because you are not asking to be revered. You're not asking for any individual to show you who they are. You are simply accepting who they're saying they are with no regard of your own life. No, you still are not loving yourself enough. And that is how you're able to fall back into the trap of an abusive relationship, because someone who is loving themselves enough, someone who is standing in their own reverence, someone who is choosing themselves, someone who understands their worth would never go back in such an impulsive way. Someone who's standing in their worth understands they are worthy to be shown where change has grown. They understand they are changing. They understand they are ascending. They understand they are choosing themselves. And who are you to come with this cheap words and tell me who you are? No, show me who you are. And then I will decide if I go back. That is what it looks like with someone who is choosing themselves. You have it in you, friend. You are worthy. I'm here to tell you, even if you don't know it for yourself, allow me to speak this to you. You are worthy. Your Father is the Most High. You were created in His image. I'm sorry to what your parents did to you, what your caretakers did to you, that caused the wound, that caused us all to forget that truth of who we are, regal beings. But it's time to remember. It's time to go back to that truth. And it's time to not allow another soul come close to us who is not worthy of our love. You step into that truth by choosing to love yourself first. And then, as you do that and you stand in that truth, then someone who is worthy of that power of your love will come and love you the same way you are loving yourself. And that's how it works. Thank you so much for joining this convo. If you are not subscribed on YouTube, I'm going to need you to press subscribe. I would be honored to have you there. If you are not following on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast, make sure that you are following there. Also, check out our merch, tull.shop. That's available in our show notes. All of our merchandise is there. And also all of our curated beautiful artisan handmade goods that I brought from around the world. There's also a collection there called World Treasure. Take a look. Also, our new book, Fake Ass Vegan, is available on Amazon. It's all about living in harmony, living in balance, and all about what I've just spoke about, the power of loving ourselves first. Until next time, love yourself and love others. We'll chat again real soon. Bye for now.